Some individuals navigate the world with a mask of charm, a calculated demeanor, and an unsettling absence of empathy. They often leave a trail of manipulation, deceit, and sometimes even violence. These individuals are known as psychopaths. But what lies beneath this cold, calculated surface? What turns a child into someone who feels no guilt, no fear, and no true connection with others? In this video, we're going to explore what makes someone a psychopath. Is it nature, nurture, or both? What the brain of a psychopath looks like and how it functions differently. Why some psychopaths commit crimes while others thrive undetected. Whether psychopathy can be treated or even prevented. And finally, we'll walk through the fictional life of a boy named Dylan who slowly transforms into a psychopath so you can witness how the warning signs appear long before the damage is done. Let's begin. The genesis of a psychopath, psychopathy, isn't something that suddenly appears overnight. It's the result of a complex mix of genetic risk and environmental influence. There is no single psychopathy gene, but certain inherited traits can increase the chances. These include low emotional reactivity, high sensation seeking, and fearlessness. When a child with these traits grows up in a nurturing home, they might learn to manage them. But when raised in a chaotic, abusive, or neglectful environment, these traits can spiral into something much darker. Dylan's story, Part 1. The early years, Dylan was always different. At 5, he didn't cry when the family dog died. At 6, he laughed when his younger sister fell and broke her wrist. His parents, busy with their own problems, chalked it up to immaturity. But it was more than that. His father was quick-tempered and violent. His mother, distant and depressed. At school, Dylan began lying, not just to avoid trouble, but for fun. He started stealing from classmates, hurting animals. He felt no guilt, but no one noticed. Or if they did, they didn't act. Inside the brain of a psychopath, when scientists study the brain of a psychopath, they consistently find differences in structure and function, especially in regions that govern emotion, empathy, and decision-making. One of the most impacted areas is the ventromedial region of the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps us weigh consequences, regulate emotions, and make moral decisions. In many psychopaths, this area is underactive or physically smaller, which leads to impulsive and reckless behavior. Another key region is the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing fear, sadness, and empathy. In psychopaths, the amygdala tends to be underdeveloped or less reactive, making it harder for them to feel fear or to recognize it in others.
Okay, it's my turn. Finally, the anterior cingulate cortex, the area that helps us detect errors, process pain, and regulate emotional responses, often shows abnormalities in those with psychopathic traits. This may explain why many psychopaths don't learn from punishment or feel distress when others suffer. Chemical imbalances and emotional deficits. Psychopathy is not just structural, it's also chemical. Neurotransmitters in the brain, like serotonin and dopamine, are often unbalanced. Low serotonin levels are linked to increased aggression and impulsivity, which are common in psychopathic individuals. On the other hand, an overactive dopamine system means that rewards, like sex, power, or money, are more thrilling, driving a constant need for stimulation regardless of consequences. This chemical imbalance helps explain why many psychopaths are risk-takers, manipulators, and emotionally shallow. They don't experience guilt or fear like the average person, and that makes them dangerous. Dylan's story, Part 2. Teen years. Before teen, Dylan had been suspended 3 times for fighting. He wasn't angry. He was bored. He once told a teacher, "I just wanted to see if I could make him cry." Behind the scenes, Dylan had already begun breaking into homes. He didn't need the money. He just liked the control, the thrill. His parents didn't know how to handle him. Therapy appointments came and went. He charmed the therapists, told them what they wanted to hear, and went right back to doing whatever he wanted. By 16, Dylan had a girlfriend. She was sweet, innocent. He cheated on her, isolated her, emotionally manipulated her, and when she finally left, he told his friends she was crazy. He didn't feel bad, not even a little. Can psychopathy be treated? This leads us to one of the most difficult questions in psychology. Can a psychopath be helped? Can they change? The honest answer is, maybe. but it's very difficult. Traditional therapy often doesn't work. That's because many psychopaths don't believe they have a problem, and they're often manipulative enough to game the system. However, there is some hope, especially with early intervention. Programs that work with children and teens can help reduce callous unemotional traits if caught early. These programs focus on teaching empathy, emotional regulation, and impulse control, often with consistent feedback and behavioral rewards. Some medications, like mood stabilizers or antipsychotics, can help manage aggression and impulsivity, but they don't change the core traits. No drug currently treats the root of psychopathy. Dylan's story, Part 3. Adulthood. Be 23. Dylan had been arrested twice, once for fraud, once for assault. Both times, he showed no remorse. In court, he blamed the victim, said they deserved it. He spoke clearly, confidently, even smiled. They did a psychological evaluation that revealed high levels of narcissism, low empathy, and a complete disregard for the rights of others. He ticked nearly every box for psychopathy. Years later, he would find himself behind bars again. Not because he felt guilty, but because he had finally gone too far. Even then, Dylan never asked for help, never looked back. Conclusion: psychopathy is one of the most chilling and mysterious mental conditions known to science. It's not just about being evil. It's about a brain that works differently, often from a young age. While not all psychopaths become criminals, and not all criminals are psychopaths, those with severe traits often leave pain in their wake. But there is hope, especially when we recognize the signs early. Understanding psychopathy isn't about excusing behavior. It's about preventing harm, creating safer communities, and learning how the human mind can sometimes go terribly wrong. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, and stay safe.